Last October, School District 43 School Board Trustee Jennifer Blatherwick was elected to the position of MLA for Coquitlam-Maillardville. On Saturday, February 22nd, there will be a by-election to fill the vacated seat. Tri-Cities Community TV reached out to all the candidates running for this position and offered them an opportunity to present their platform. As a result, Tri-Cities Community TV presents the following interview.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Nancy Furness, and this is We've Got Issues. We're filming at Coquitlam City Centre Library, and we'd like to thank the library for giving us the space to carry out these interviews. Before we get started, I'd also like to acknowledge that our interview today is taking place on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded lands of Coquitlam First Nation. So we thank the Coquitlam people who continue to live on these lands and to care for the lands and the waters and all that lies above and below. So today I'm joined by Rosey Manhas, who is taking a run for school trustee, School District 43. So thanks so much for joining us today, Rosey.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us what inspired you to run for school trustee in School District 43?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me here today.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Appreciate being here. What inspired me? It's kind of funny. I never thought I'd go down this road. And it's just been one thing after another after another. So I got involved in PAC at my son's elementary school way back when. Mm-hmm. And that was all because of the principal that I was with who encouraged me to run for PAC chair. And I knew nothing about PAC at the time. And then that led me to running for DPAC. And I've been there for the last 5.5 years. And then at DPAC, I had people coming to me saying that you should run for trustee. And I thought, well, I need to learn more about it, and I need to, before I just jump right in. And so now here I am. It's
Excellent.
time.
And just for folks who may not be familiar, DPAC is the District
Parent Advisory Council.
Advisory
That's right.
Council. So it's a little bit higher level than the PAC.
Right. So PACs are individual schools, and then the District PAC actually covers the umbrella of all the schools, so all 70 schools in our district.
And can you tell us just very briefly, what did you do at DPAC? Like, what was your role?
So I started off as health and safety coordinator, and then I moved on to vice president, and for the last 3.5 years I've been the president there. And one of the big things that we do is we advocate for our parents. So when they have issues at the school system that can't be resolved, that need to go to the district level, we kind of work as a liaison between them and the district.
So you've already made some of these linkages and you know how some of this works.
Absolutely. And that's why I feel confident now going into this.
What do you think your primary role will be as a school trustee? Like, how do you envision that?
Well, I'm one of many. So alone, I don't think you do too much, but I think the most important thing for me and my main focus would be to advocate, again, for parents and students alike. Mm-hmm. I'm already doing that from the DPAC side, but I think now I could get into the school systems and actually do it there. Parents have a hard time with certain aspects of the school, whether it be the reporting or whether it being bullying and whatnot. There's a lot of different issues that happen, and I think it would be good to advocate for them, to listen to them. I've always been that kind of a person. So
right. And as you say, there's lots of interesting issues and complex issues that you'll be dealing with. You mentioned your work at PAC and DPAC. Can you tell us about some of the other skills or experiences that you have that might serve you well in your role as a school trustee?
Absolutely. I've been working in healthcare for the last 26 years as a medical radiation technologist in interventional radiology. And that experience alone, serving people, you have to listen to them. You need to be able to
be empathetic.
Absolutely. And then with your colleagues, it's teamwork. It's communication skills. It's learning to conflict resolution if you need to do certain things like that. So I've learned a lot along the way, just in my own profession.
Right, and possibly dealing with people in stressful situations.
Absolutely,
right?
yes. It can be very stressful at times. And even just with my volunteer work. So I've been volunteering at Metro Ford Soccer for the past 8 years. And you get to meet a lot of diverse individuals. and managing resources and time with that as well has taught me a lot.
Well, you certainly come with a good skill set. One of the responsibilities of a school trustee is to provide leadership to the district in maintaining its high student achievement and graduation rates by ensuring quality learning opportunities for all students of all ages. Can you maybe give us some examples of what you would consider to be quality learning experiences, or what you would like to see?
Sure. Yeah, I think graduation rates is a huge component, and I'm really proud to say that being a part of SD43 and being on DPAC and learning what the district does, our graduation rates are actually higher than the provincial rates.
Oh, really?
So
wow, that's great to hear.
We have work to do in the Indigenous communities, but we're working on it, and it's been phenomenal to see that year after year that we're doing so well with our graduation rates.
So our graduation rates are going up year after year? Wow.
Or they sometimes maintain a level, but it's still higher than the provincial level.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for myself, though, I think there's a lot of the STEAM program, art initiatives.
Putting the art into the science and everything else.
Yes.
Can you explain just really quickly what STEAM is? I think some people will be familiar with STEM, but
STEM, yeah. So STEM with the science, technology, engineering, but then the arts component that comes out of it. We have quite a few different schools that have very, very great STEAM programs. One that was run at Terry Fox, where the kids actually got to build a boat, and then they went to Hyde Creek.
Build a boat?
Yeah, and they went to Hyde Creek and actually had boat races to see whose would get there the fastest and whatnot. So very creative work that they get to do. It's a program that it runs all year round. What I'd like to see is more accessibility to all kids, though. So it's not just certain kids that are able to get into that.
What are the barriers? Like, I understood that STEAM were getting more female in than before than in the STEM program. I don't know if that's true.
I haven't heard that at all.
Okay.
I feel like the barriers are just, it takes a lot of teacher time, right? It takes a lot of
it's
effort.
Resources.
It's more. Resources and the space, of course. You know, the ability to have that many students doing so many things. But
it's a cool program.
It
would be nice to see that expanded.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. What is one thing that you think is already working really well, like policy-wise or practice-wise? What's one thing that, School District 43 is doing really well, in your opinion?
I would have to say policy-wise, our accumulated surplus policy has been phenomenal. As everyone knows, COVID hit, something very unforeseen, unexpected, and with a surplus policy like the one that SD43 has, it enabled the district to not have to do cuts that were sudden and layoffs and such, whereas other districts did have to do that. So that's a very proud thing to know, that our district was capable of doing that and managing their finances to the point where they're looking for the future too. So it's helping the students right now, but also the students that are coming later.
Oh, okay. So is that, I'm not really familiar with, is that having money in the bank kind of?
That's right. So keeping it aside kind of thing, and not using everything that they have.
Okay, so not running down to the bare bones.
That's right.
Crossing your fingers.
Exactly.
Okay, no, that's good to know. And then on sort of the other end of the spectrum, can you talk about something that you think maybe the policy could be improved, or that you would like to see new policy come in?
Sure. Not really a district policy, but more at the ministry level, which if I have the opportunity, I would love to advocate for. One of the things with being DPAC president, I get to talk to a lot of parents and students, and the reporting change that occurred with letter grades.
Oh, right, yes.
Has been a huge problem with parents. Parents are not loving that, and I can understand why. When you want to know if your child or even the student themselves is on the path to graduation, sometimes by the time you get into grade 10, which is when you get your letter grades now, with the new reporting system, they feel like it's too late.
Some people get a surprise when they see those letter grades.
That's right, yes. So what would be nice, and again, it's advocating to the ministry, but all parents need to do this, is maybe have it a little bit earlier, like starting at grade 8 or something.
Okay.
Just to do both, so you still are having
Right, and so there's time to maybe take some of that remedial
To grow.
action if you
Exactly.
need that, and,
That's
and
exactly it.
provide
And I
the
think
supports.
it's what parents understand as how they
That's how
know
we
academic.
grew up,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's how my parents knew if I was doing well or not, right? So I think it's just that mentality that parents and students have alike.
Okay, fair enough. And can you talk a little bit about how you would promote a safe and inclusive environment for all students in the school? I know this is an issue that comes up fairly often. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, continuing education is so important. I think students and teachers alike need to have ongoing education on anti-racism and mental health. Supports, we already have a lot of mental health support, but enhancing that to build on that, I think, would be a good investment in making it. Inclusivity is huge. I think being transparent and again advocating for our families.
Right, because I think we are in a mental health crisis, right?
We are.
So many students are feeling maybe sort of isolated a little bit for various reasons.
And that's also where I also think that there could be a strong kind of a reporting process for bullying and harassment as well, and discrimination. So I'd like to see that a little bit firmer, just so that kids feel safe in schools,
Right.
and so do the parents.
And would you be supportive of SOGI 123 being part of that inclusivity?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the term SOGI, parents tend to freak out, not understand it as much. It's a strong,
Well, I think
word, but people don't understand that really it's including all people. It doesn't matter our cultures, our backgrounds, our languages that we speak or whatnot. Everybody deserves the right to have a great education, and that's what public schools and our district supports.
Absolutely, and I think you're right that there's some misinformation and misunderstandings out there.
Yes.
So, as to what SOGI is really the goal behind it.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Okay, well, thanks for clarifying that.
My pleasure.
Just a little bit more down the inclusivity kind of road. Would you be supportive of sanctuary school policy? Places like New Westminster and Surrey already have them in place, but Coquitlam doesn't.
So, I mean, I 100% support inclusivity, and I think it's important that all students, regardless of their background, have a safe environment to go to school and learn. But I also believe in the law and abiding by the law. So I think that there needs to be a happy medium there where both can be represented equally.
Okay, because under the School Act, every child does have the right to an education.
Absolutely.
Okay. So another really significant part of your role is to liaise with your stakeholders, right?
Right.
So who would you consider to be your main or your most important stakeholders, and how would you ensure that you had that line of communication and that their voice was being heard?
Wow, okay, well, there's a lot. I mean, we go from our students and our parents to teachers, the school staff, we
Right.
have administrative staff, communities, and then our Indigenous communities, different community partners. There's so many stakeholders I believe in. And in order, I think, again, transparency and advocacy are huge. And then communication, always
Right.
communicating with them.
Keeping those lines of communication open,
absolutely.
being accessible,
Yes.
transparent.
Yep. And I think that just makes the relationship that much stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's such an important part of the job, and you do have some skills that you bring to the table with respect to that as well.
Right.
I have to ask you a question about funding, because funding is always the bottom line, isn't
Yes.
it? There's never enough to go around.
Never.
So Coquitlam relies quite significantly on an international student program, and I believe you get about 25% of the funding comes from that. That number may be outdated now.
Okay.
But can you speak to that? Do you support the international student program or expanding it, or do you feel that there are other ways as well that funding could be brought forward?
Absolutely. Our international education program for SD43 is phenomenal, and you're right, it brings in a lot of revenue. And again, situations like COVID, where we lost that
Right.
revenue.
It highlighted, how significant it is.
It actually
right?
is. And that's the reason we have a lot of programs that other districts don't have. So I wouldn't want to see that gone. Are there other ways? Yeah, there's grants that can be applied for.
That's provincial?
Yeah,
grants?
there's provincial, and working with partner groups as well can be helpful. Community partnerships is always good with local businesses. But the main thing that I would really like to see is, and it's always hard, but it's an ask for sure, is provincial funding.
Yes.
The provincial funding for our district anyways has not increased in so many years.
Oh, is that right?
Regardless of how many students are coming through. So that is a fight I think that we need to work on.
Sounds like something worth advocating
Absolutely.
for. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that it hadn't increased at all. Okay, so you've got your work cut out for you, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, yes.
Just before we wrap up, is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or any last words you wanted to
Just
say?
how important it is to have somebody who knows what's going on, and having people advocate is so important. The most important thing that parents, students, and the community can do is go out and vote. This by-election is happening soon. It's a month from today,
Yes.
February 22nd, and it's important to get your voice heard, because this is the time when you'll have representation that you want there.
Well, I'd just like to thank you so much for coming in and for sharing all your good thoughts with us, and we'll wish you all the best in the upcoming election.
Thank you.
So thanks for joining us. This is We've Got Issues, and we've been speaking with Rosey Manhas, who is running for SD43 school trustee. Thank you.